I'm Manzie from UK Trade and Investment, and I'm here to talk about the assistance that UKTI gives to UK companies. Not only on the financial and funding side, but I'm going to give you an overview of how UKTI is set up and how we help UK businesses to export. And also how the UKTI team is based around the world to help you. So just a bit of a basics here. There's two strands to UKTI. There's an investment strand and an export strand. So we try and support UK companies that want to expand their businesses abroad, and we also try and connect UK business to various opportunities around the world to ensure that UK companies get a fighting chance of going for opportunities abroad. On the other side of things, we also try to help inward investment. So if there are foreign companies that want to invest in the UK, maybe invest in a British company or set up over here, we've also got an investment arm that does that for us. And overall, we're a whole of government partner for a British industry, trying to explore how we can extend strategies for British industry, both internally and abroad, to try and get the balance of payments up. So what's the power behind UKTI? Well, UKTI is a joint venture between the Department of Business Innovation and Skills and the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. And the real power behind this is the fact that we have over 1,200 staff globally, based in over 100 consulates and embassies. Now, these people are commercial officers who are normally recruited locally, but some of them are career civil servants, that have an understanding of business, and more importantly, have an understanding of local business culture and how to help British companies to make contacts, maybe business partners, maybe potential clients in different countries around the world. A lot of these people are recruited from the local universities, the business schools, but we also recruit people from the private sector as well. Another strand that we have is people called international trade advisors, like myself. Now, most of these people are recruited from private industry, and they are here to try and help small businesses through what assistance is available from the government in order to help them export and get their products and services abroad. We have 9 different regions in England that help people do that, and there are also devolved administrations that do that in Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales. I'm part of the London sector, and I work in the business and services team, and I concentrate mainly on recruitment, education, and also some financial services. So we try to use the skills of the people that we've employed to try and help small businesses. So, for example, I used to work for Thomson Reuters and used to manage Thomson Reuters Ireland. So I understand how to run a business, and hopefully I can transmit some of the things I've learned to small businesses. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about the education sector. The education sector is seen as being a unique region, a unique sector where there's a lot of possibilities for British companies going forward. The global education market is worth 3 trillion sterling, and education exports in 2011 were worth 17.5 billion to the UK, which was an increase between 2008 and 2011 of 3 billion sterling, which is an amazing amount considering that was during a period of economic instability globally. Education UK was set up in 2013 as part of UKTI to try and ensure that we had a really good focus on the education sector. And it's there in the main to focus on high value opportunities, but also to get close to people in the education sector in the UK and to ensure that small businesses get a chance to get involved in those high-value opportunities as well. And by 2020, we're hoping to secure high-value contracts worth more than 3 billion sterling. So, the services. The actual title talks about funding, but there's actually a number of different ways that we try and help companies. They sort of come into 4 different categories. They're either assistance, advice, some form of chargeable service which makes an impact on the way that people try to get into different markets, and trying to get business opportunities and training for companies to make it easier for them to enter new markets. And finally, we also do provide some sort of funding. Not massive amounts. We don't think it's going to change your life, but it might mean the difference between you concentrating on, say, one market in your export strategy and maybe deciding to go for 2 markets and maybe ramp up the way that you approach that. So I'm going to talk on the most basic way of helping companies that we have, and it's called the Trade Show Access Program. This is where you can actually apply for a grant which would pay for you to have a stand at a trade show in another country where you're trying to get your name out into the market. You can apply for that by speaking to an international trade advisor or going to the UKTI website. And what it means is that you provide a receipt after well, first of all, you have to apply for the funding. It gets approved, and then when you come back shortly afterwards, you provide us with the receipts, and we provide you with a certain amount of funding, which ranges from about £1,250. That's a basic way where clients can get out into the market, and we try and help you to do that. The second way we try and help you is probably the most powerful way, and this is used by one-man bands up to large companies. It's called the Overseas Market Introduction Service, and what it does is it uses the power of the business teams that we've got globally to try and help you if you have a specific requirement in a specific country. The best way I can give you an example of this is one of my clients who last year was approached by some people from Bahrain who'd found out about his business and wanted him to fly over to Bahrain to do some business with them. He'd never done any business in Bahrain previously, so what he did first of all was phone me and try and work out whether they were a reputable company to do business with. I put him in touch with Iman, who's our commercial officer in Bahrain, and she said, look, these guys that you're dealing with, they would be one of the largest hotel owners in Bahrain, and you've really got a good opportunity here. So maybe you should come over here and do business with them, because in the Middle East, you've got to meet people face to face to develop a relationship with them. So we explained about the fact that we could help them go over there, and then we said to them, well, we can actually get some other people for you to meet whilst you're over there, because flying all the way to Bahrain for one potential client is not the best way of doing things. Maybe we should invite a few more people along. And it snowballed, really. We started inviting 8 guests, and then we started inviting 32 guests, and in the end, we ended up inviting 80 people to a seminar at what was meant to be at the embassy, but because of technical reasons, we had to hold it at the ambassador's house. And had to move him out of the house, but that's another story. And effectively what it did was it meant that they hit 80 people on their visit in one go. It started off being a reception, but we made it into a seminar so that it could get their pitch across to these clients, and they got business. It cost them money to do that. It's a chargeable service. It cost them over £4,500, but they paid for it with 2 contracts on that first visit. And that shows the power of what UKTI can do for you. We also research business opportunities, and there's a lot of information on our website. So I'd urge all small companies to go to ukti.gov.uk, where you can register to see what business opportunities are available in your sector or the countries you're trying to target. And there's also some schemes which are a bit of a hodgepodge between funding, training, and chargeable services. One of them is called Passport to Export. It's for companies that are new to exporting and who want to understand the best way to go around it and access some funding. There's a chargeable fee for joining it, which is £500, and you have to go on a one-day course, and you have to speak to an international trade advisor who will qualify whether your company is at the right stage to do that. We don't normally help startups. We try to help companies that have got a decent business going. But an international trade advisor will establish that by having a conversation with you about that business. This would give you access, once you've done a course and paid a £500 commitment fee, to £3,000 worth of matched funding for things like travel, accommodation, maybe getting your website up to spec so that it can be ready for all the countries that you're trying to do business with. So that's Passport to Export, and you can actually go to the UKTI website and register to try and to get someone to talk to you about that. The other two schemes are both provided by private sector companies, and they're really practical methods to try and help you when you're starting to go into new markets. One of which is helping you with your marketing communications, mainly your website. What we do is, it's a chargeable service, but we give quite a substantial grant towards it. And there's quite a long waiting list for it as well, because it's very popular. And what we do is, we get a private sector company to have a look at your website compared to the countries that you're looking to do business with, and to work out whether that and your other marketing literature is correct for the markets you're looking at doing business with. Does it get the top of the searches? Is there ways that we could improve that? Is it culturally suitable for that market? Do you need to get some foreign language onto that website to make sure it does hit the right searches? And what they do is they sit down with you. The service costs about £350, which has got a subsidy of £250 from the government on it. And they sit down with you, having looked at your website, etc., and they provide you with a report, which is a large report. That means you know exactly what you need to go to your web designer, your developer, and say, look, I like the site I've got at the moment, but I'd like you to get it to this level here by doing what's in this report, which can save you A, loads of money, and B, loads of time in toing and froing between your web designer and your web developer. The last thing I'm going to talk about is something called the Export Marketing Research Scheme. And this is a scheme whereby a private company can help you do research into a country where you've got an inkling that you might be able to do some business, but you haven't got any business contacts there at the moment, and you want to research the market there. You can get up to £5,000 worth of funding if your application is agreed from the private company. But more importantly, you will get advice on how to do market research on that company to work out whether it's going to be a good arena for you to do business in. Because half of the problem is you're not sure whether it's the right area to do business in, and you need to actually work out whether your ideas are as viable as you think they are. Last and not least, we've got a sister department which is called UK Export Finance. When you're going to do business in new countries, one of the challenges you may have is getting paid on time, depending on the service or the product you provide. And you can get help from your bank on this, and that's the first place I'd go to for advice. But sometimes, when you're dealing with your local bank manager, it's quite difficult to go through the rigmarole of finding the right people to do that with in your bank. And what UK Export Finance does, a couple of things. It provides some services, so for example, it can help insure UK exporters against non-payment by overseas buyers. and it can also provide insurance schemes for countries that might have more political risk than other ones. But more importantly, what they can do is they can talk to you about who you're doing business and how you're doing business, and give you advice on who you should be speaking to in order to underwrite the risks of that business abroad. So for example, they could help you work out how to get contract goods, how to get goods for contracts sorted out, and how to get backing for tender and contract bonds. And they can also help you decide the best people to deal with in your bank to ensure that you get the best backing from your local bank, and ensure that when you're going into new markets, you feel confident that you're getting paid for the services or the products you're providing in those markets. That's the last of the services I wanted to talk to you about. What I would emphasize is that we've got a lot of staff globally and over 400 staff in the UK who are here ready, primed to try and help UK businesses get out there, get the UK balance of payments out, which is our major driver, but also make sure that you increase your earnings by going to markets where you maybe broaden the risks that you're going to have, so that you're not just in one market, and you can hopefully expand and get into some new markets going forward. Thank you.